To do the floorboards, you're going to need a couple of main items. The first one is some balsa wood. Now I got this here balsa wood from Bunnings. It has other stuff in the pack, but I also got some from Spotlight that just has the sticks. They're about the same price, and I prefer the Bunnings, the Spotlight ones, because they're a bit more flatter and I think better quality. But you need some balsa sticks, so hopefully you can find them at a craft store or a hardware store. I use some Boyle balsa wood PVA glue. You could probably use normal PVA glue, but I like this. It you can put a small end in the bottle and only let out a little bit. I also used this here blade cutting set to cut the wood. I've broken one of the blades, but you just fit the blades into the tight pen and use it to cut. You could probably use a Stanley knife or something else quite sharp, and also use this cutting mat just to help protect the table. It's quite good when you've got some tough one. I've also used some white card, either between 200 to 250 GSM, depending, and I'd get the size depending on what area you're doing. So this is the room that I'm looking at doing as a demonstration. The first thing I would do is to measure the room, and I did that by making it what I called a stencil. Now I've just got some black card here. The thickness doesn't really matter, but they're A4 size, and I have just lined them together depending on what the size of the room is. So put them right there. It doesn't matter if they overlap, and this, because and you could cut around that and put another piece there. And what I would do is just sticky tape that together, but in my opinion it creates a good accurate sizing. I've already done it, but this is just a demonstration, so the paper's curled up a bit, but the reason I like to do it like this is that you get a good idea of the size of the room. Then when you've sticky taped it, you can put it on your card paper that you're going to use and cut around that shape. I think that it's a good accurate way to get the size of the room. Sometimes things happen when you are using a tape measure, and you've got quite straight ends, and I've just reused the card for the next one, just put it apart, but that's how I did a stencil of the rooms. Using the stencil that I have made, I then have some, it's about 250 GSM card. This is an A3 sheet, and I've just made sure that the pieces of card I've got are bigger than the stencil. So I just get the stencil and I trace around it and then cut it out. So I'm not laying the balsa wood on the stencil, I'm laying it on here. So I'm just going to finish cutting it out. This one here is for the hallway where the stairs go, so I have measured a little bit here where the bottom of the stairs will go, as that should be enough for it to go through. Now that I have the base card cut out, I then start gluing the balsa wood down, and I have done a number of ways of putting the glue directly onto the sticks, but that unfortunately, well, it was taking a while. So my current method is to just put it smallly on each side, but I'm not trying to put too much on because otherwise it will get too heavy, so just do it lightly. The other point is to then make a pattern. Now, as this is skinny, there's not much of a pattern that can be done, but without sticking them, I'm probably going to look at a pattern, something like that. So Sometimes it takes a while to get the first few pieces, and usually I measure the size and then cut up a number of them so they're all ready to go. So I have now laid and glued 2 rows, and I've tried to do the second row from the middle. So using the same pattern, I'm now going to lay the remainder. Now I haven't got too worried about going over the edges. Whilst I try and keep it as neat as possible, it's okay to go over the edges, because once it's done I will sand it all back and make it neater anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and lay the whole thing, and you can do any pattern that you want that you'd use in this type of thing. So I've done something quite simple, but I certainly wouldn't recommend that you in a sense go like this, because it's not as strong. So if you have all the same, I think you need some type of weave, if you'd call it that. Another important point is that whenever you need to leave it, it takes a while to dry, but it's very important while it is drying to have something on top of it to help hold it down so it doesn't curl, but to make sure all the pieces do stick. So after I've laid what I have, I usually wipe up any excess glue with a piece of paper towel, and I then leave it under. I've got some phone books, but they are sometimes hard to get hold of, but anything heavy that can hold it down. So this is what the flooring looks like after I have laid it, and I'm now going to apply a whitewash stain. I've done that one there and I'm on this one, and it is Feast Watson Stain Varnish Liming White, and I've chose Satin. So I'm just putting that on there with a brush. I'm not sure how many coats that I'm going to do. Just before this I've also sanded them.